Welcome to the Organic Garden. I'm Mark Kessler, California Organic Flowers. And this video series, we're going to introduce you to many different techniques you can use in your own garden to grow beautiful flowers and healthy vegetables in your own home garden. We're going to go today and we're going to look at cover crops. We're going to talk about how cover crops can help improve your garden soil and help you to grow beautiful organic plants. Alright, today we're looking at a beautiful green field of a legume cover crop. One of the most important parts of organic agriculture and quite often overlooked by the organic gardener. Organic farmers have known for years that if you want to get nitrogen in your soil and nutrients, if you want to suppress weeds and you want to attract beneficial insects, you have to plant a cover crop in between your regular crops. What I have planted out here is bell beans, vetch, and Austrian winter peas. I planted these in the fall and now it's spring. They grew all winter and they're just doing beautifully. One of the great benefits of this crop is that it will grow up thick and suppress weeds. The weeds don't have a chance in there. There's no light for them. So this will outcompete the weeds and control them to some extent. It will also pull nitrogen from the air and down into the root zone where your plants need it. And the third and very important part of this cover crop is that it attracts beneficial insects. Ladybugs, green lacewings, praying mantis, many others. And so this is a rich habitat for them. And this will provide a source of habitat. It's almost like a nursery for these beneficial insects, which will then fly to your plants and control the bugs that harm them. And what we'll do is we'll dig some of them out here and we'll take a look at the roots and we'll see how these amazing plants are able to take nitrogen out of the air and bring them down into the soil. So let's see what we can find here. Here's a beautiful vetch plant. Wow, so healthy. Here's some of the grass that's being choked out by it. Thank you very much. And here we can look at this root zone a little closer and talk about these little nodules on here. Now we're looking at the roots of a vetch plant, and a very healthy vetch plant I might add. And you'll notice that there's something different about these roots. Well, you see the roots here, which look normal, but then what are these big white crusty looking objects attached to the root? Well, these are, this is the magic of a legume or a bean or pea family plant, is they have a relationship with an organism that lives in the soil. And I didn't add this organism to the soil. This organism is in all soil. And what it does is it triggers the plant to draw nitrogen out of the air and bring it down into the soil. And if you can imagine, these are little chunks of fertilizer. And the beauty of this fertilizer is, one, it's free, and two, it's in a form that is very complex and able to attach to organic matter, and it stays in the soil much better than a chemical fertilizer, which is easily leached out by rain and ends up in the groundwater, or it releases into the air very easily and you have to keep reapplying it all the time. This is a nitrogen that's going to be in your soil and feed your plants for a long time. Okay, I've got another nice vetch plant here, and you see we have 3 ladybugs on one plant, and this is one of the benefits of planting a cover crop, is it attracts beneficial insects. Interestingly, the way it attracts beneficial insects is it also attracts things like aphids. Aphids will get in this cover crop, and then that is like the alarm call for ladybugs. They will find this field. Oddly enough, you're planting a crop to attract aphids. And you want the aphids to attract the ladybugs, and then you want the ladybugs to eat all the aphids in the field, and when they're done with those, they're hungry and they'll go to the rest of your plants in your garden and start eating the aphids off of those. So you're trying to maintain this nice ecosystem. You're trying to maintain some pests and attract the beneficial insects. But the important thing is you have to have habitat to attract the insects that are going to protect your garden. And that's what the cover crop does for you. That's why we plant things like vetch. Okay, planting cover crop is very easy. We have some seeds here. I have bell bean and vetch seeds. Depending on where you live, you want to plant this in the fall. And it doesn't really matter how cold your climate is. If you plant them in the fall, say October, get them nicely watered in and get them started before the cold sets in. They'll be fine. They'll go dormant for the winter. They can even be under 2 feet of snow. They'll be just fine. When the snow melts, they'll already be there and sprouted, and it'll grow beautifully throughout the spring, and you can mow it down early to midsummer. And the way it's planted couldn't be easier. You simply take the seeds, scatter them about, and rake them in. So what we'll do here is I just take some of these nice seeds, spread them out over the ground, scatter them about. It doesn't have to be spaced perfectly or anything. You want them nice and thick though. You want a nice thick stand so it'll choke out the weeds. And then after you spread them on the ground, you just rake them in nice and gently. Now I like using a rake, but if you have a big area, you may want to consider using a rototiller, and you can just till them in. They'll all sprout. And so after you rake them in, sprinkle them with water, and about 4 or 5 days they'll sprout up and they'll do the rest of the work for you. When a plant starts to bloom, it starts to use a lot of energy. So what you want to do is watch your cover crop, and when it starts to bloom, you know it's time to mow it down soon. You want to mow it down before it sets seed for 2 reasons. One is, if it starts to produce seed, it will draw all that nice energy and nutrients that you're putting into the soil out. The second reason is if you let your cover crop go to seed and it drops its seed, you will have it coming back over and over again. So you really don't want it to drop seed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how we do this. All you do is you take an average lawnmower and cut down the crop. So we're going to mow it down and chop it up, because the smaller the pieces are, the more the soil is going to be able to digest this and turn it into nutrients. So we want to chop it up, and we want it to get into the soil and feed the soil. Then we're going to take the rototiller and we're going to incorporate it deep into the soil, where it can be consumed by bacteria, nematodes, earthworms, and so forth. Okay, look at this nice stuff. This is our cover crop all chopped up. This is like feeding vitamins to your soil, and very different from chemical fertilizers. Chemical fertilizers, they give a boost of energy to your plants, whereas this sort of nutrient is like eating a good whole grain bread. You know, this is good nutrients for your soil. So what we're going to do, we're going to take this nice finely chopped cover crop, we're going to take the rototiller and till it under. Well, this is what all that hard work, it really wasn't that hard of work, planting a cover crop is all about. We did the same thing last year to this field, and now we have a beautiful healthy field, no chemical fertilizers added, no chemical pesticides or herbicides needed. We have created a beautiful healthy ecosystem for which these plants can grow in. We have a gorgeous crop of narcissus here, which is just a delightful fragrant flower. Here's a nice bouquet we picked from this field. Soleil d'Or, narcissus, beautiful fragrant flowers right from this field. So with organic growing, if you use a nice cover crop and get your soil healthy, you can grow beautiful flowers too.